So her friends here for her and with her are Kerryn and Vickie, and they're going to be talking a little bit about what they know of Bioptron. Now, if I understand it, Billie's been using Bioptron, as have her friends, for quite some time, and although she's not au fait with all the science behind it, she has a very good instruction manual and has had a lot of success. So, from the bottom of her heart and the bottom of mine, I welcome you, and here's Billie.
Thank you. So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for listening to us. Kerryn and I, my friend Kerryn and I, heard about the light many years ago, but we didn't know anything about it, so we saw the Bioptron light on sale, so we got one, and we bumbled our way through for years without any instructions, and found it really good. But where it came into its own for me was when I had a knee replacement, and I was on the painkillers at the hospital, the morphine painkillers, and when I came home I had no appetite, and I don't drink or smoke, so I couldn't eat, so I thought, oh, blow this. So on went that light, and I had no pain. The painkillers, I didn't use any of them from the hospital, the endone and oxycodone. And within days, each day I could feel the improvement. It was really good. And a friend of mine had a knee replacement a few months later, and she knew I had the oxycodone and endone untouched, so she said, could she have them? And I said, you're welcome to them, but would you like to borrow the light and try that? Which she did, and she didn't use any of the tablets whatsoever. So to me, as a painkiller, it was amazing. And after listening to Rasmus's talk yesterday, many thanks to the scientists for bringing all these up. But I've done my duty in multiplying by going forth with having children. So I've got a very big family who I can practice on. And I'll pass it on to Kerryn, and we'll show you how we use it.
My personal experience with the Bioptron, I had this was just a few years ago, cellulitis in my right foot, and it's extremely painful if anyone has experienced it. I went through 2 courses of antibiotics, and it cleared that first one. Unfortunately for me, it came back again, so I went back to the doctor and the 2 courses of antibiotics and had no result from that. So I thought, well, I'm not doing that again. So got my Bioptron out and went through all the little booklets that I've managed to accumulate and read through, and found where we had a discussion about it, and we thought, right, well, it's not a virus, so it's a sort of a bacteria thing. So there was something in one of my booklets about the bacteria, so we decided we'd use the Bioptron. I used the green light on the area where it was really sore, and that was for 20 minutes, followed by 5 minutes of the red. And I did that for 3 days, 3 times a day. I couldn't walk the first day. I was experimenting with it. By the second day, I was driving up to Atherton to visit a friend, took my light with me, did it there, come back 3 days later, it was gone. I haven't had that recurrence since, so I was very happy about that. I also have a problem with my kidneys, and so from that I get cramps at most unfortunate times of the day or night, and at 3 a.m. you're not really thinking about much, so suddenly leap out of bed, grab the Bioptron light because I've got this cramp, and I use the orange for about 4 or 5 minutes on the spot, then follow it with some indigo for say 30 seconds to a minute, and it's gone. It's relaxed. I can go back to bed. It's just wonderful. And this is something that people with kidney problems suffer from a lot. I have my sister-in-law had fractured quite a lot of bones in her body. Now she's about 70, 76. Didn't have any healing in the shoulder with the bones knitting, and after a month. And I had offered her the light to use when it first happened, and she said no, she'd use whatever the doctor said. And I said fine. Anyway, after a month and no healing, I said, would you like to use the light? And by then she was getting a bit desperate, so she did, and she had healing after another month. Her bones were starting to knit, and so she was very happy, and is quite an advocate, about the light to her friends. That's just 3 of the instances I can think of. I'll pass you on now to Vickie, and I'll just include Billie and I do Bowen therapy, and we quite oftentimes will use the light on our client as well at the same time. It's very relaxing. They all enjoy it.
Would Annalise like to come up and we'll show you working with the light?
I'm Vickie. I'm an acupuncturist in Cairns, and I've been practicing for about 20 years now. I got involved with the Bioptron through these two, and I was seeing the results that I got, and I decided, okay, I'm going to start using it in my practice. So 3 of the instances that I'll share with you was a young 3-year-old boy that had chronic skin condition for over 9 months, and conventional therapies weren't working with him, antibiotics, and his mother was a little bit distraught. So I did a couple of things. I got in contact with another friend that who was a naturopath who offered a tincture, and then Billie said, we'll put the child over to Billie, and the child wanted the blue light. He just kept pointing to blue on the colour range. So Billie let his mother take the light home for 5 days, so twice a day for the 5 days. After that 5 days, it had resolved itself. Another instance was, I've just recently been working with a young man that broke his tibia and fibula, and had a cast on his leg, couldn't move his knee because of the swelling and the stiffness. So I started using the acupuncture on him, on the knee especially, and then on the opposite leg I used it on the feet, and then I would put the light, the different colours. I would use orange and indigo. I'd use the fullerene, and he would say during the session that he could feel the needles vibrating. He could feel the sensation travelling up the leg that was broken to his knee. So I'd only just finished doing the 6th treatment, and the knee is absolutely beautiful. The swelling, the stiffness, the hardness has just gone back to a normal knee, and where his leg was out here, he's now back, getting it back here, so he's walking a lot easier. So the cast come off, so I'm now going to start working with the ankle. So I know that it's actually enhancing what I do as an acupuncturist. And then I've used it on a young woman that I did the acupuncture treatment, and then she was laying face down, and then I actually used the lights on her body, and she didn't know what I was doing, but she said she just felt such peace because she came in with a stress condition that was affecting her health. She said she just let go of all the tension, and she got off the table and she said, I don't know what you just said. She said, but I need to buy one. And so she did. She bought one, and she's using it. So when I've been thinking about using it and working with it with the acupuncture, it's kind of like, as the acupuncture clears the energetic or the pathways, when I put the light on these certain points, it's like I can visualise like an aeroplane runway, as it's being cleared, and as the light just follows, and the energy just takes off. And that was reinforced when the fellow with the broken leg said to me, I can feel that travelling up my leg, so I know it's working, and so I'm sold, you know, and I'm using it all the time.
Yeah, we just got it on Annalise here with the new one that they've just put out. The fullerene is the quantum healing one, and by just shining it on the retina, it's going through the whole body. So we're getting magical results with that one. But another instance for me was I had a trip to Japan with Vickie and came back with fingers the size of sausages and my feet all swollen, and I couldn't even turn a light switch on. And I went to the doctor after I couldn't stand it any longer, and he diagnosed it as rheumatoid arthritis, which I'd never had. So he gave me prednisone and gave me a reference to the specialist. So I went home and I didn't take the prednisone, and I just went to use the light, plus I had a power tube at the time which works on frequency, and I used those, and I didn't take any. I went on high turmeric as well. So each day the pain got better and better. 5 months later I went back to the doctor to get the medical certificate for my driver's license, and he looked at his chart and he said, how'd you get on at the specialist? I said, I didn't go. So he said, well, how's your rheumatoid? And I said, well, it's not there. It's fine. So he wanted to know what I used, so I did tell him, but how the doctors are, but now he knows not to prescribe anything for me. If I go there, he says, well, it's no sense me prescribing anything for you. And another beauty with this size, you can give yourself a facial at home. If I feel a bit down, I just lie on the table and I put that on my face, and I just put the finger up and I have the colour and just use it on the face, and it's just so relaxing. Yeah.
Billie, how long do you put it on for in your...
For the pain, when I had the knee replacement, 10 minutes, but I do it every few hours with the pain. But yeah.
And what about, like, if you're working with somebody who's got, I'm an acupuncturist as well, like macular degeneration or retinal problem, how long would you use it?
For the eyes?
Yes, how long would you put it on for?
Well, especially with the eyes, you have to watch that people haven't got lenses in as well. Be careful of that. And some people are very sensitive. So I tend to start from out here and then gradually work to their comfort, where they're comfortable with it. I've got caught a couple of times with my friend Vickie, who is very sensitive, and I put it on and she nearly jumps off the bed because I've got it, and Kerryn, because they're so sensitive. So we have to sort of start from back here and gradually bring it in.
And on for just 4 minutes or longer?
Yeah, you can have up to 10 minutes, yeah.
With the rheumatoid, you had it only apparent rheumatoid, you only had it in your hands, is that right?
Yeah, there's stands, you can have it on the stand. Huh?
The rheumatoid.
Yeah.
Rheumatoid. Did you only have it in your hands?
No, every joint in the body, but that's where, that was just, that was.
So how did you use it?
Well, wherever the pain was most, I put it on there each day. But now, if the fullerene had been out then, I would have used that on here.
Oh, not have to go and address each joint?
No, but each...
The eyes shut, is it?
Yes, eyes shut, and then it works through the retina.
How, yes, I know people who've got rheumatoid, this would be the most extraordinary, especially the ones that refuse to use the drugs.
Yeah, then again too, I'm my own worst enemy. What brings on inflammation for me is when I OD on sugar. So I can't even blame anything for it. Can't blame anybody else. I'll wake up and I'll say to them, oh gee, I'm in pain today, and I've had a big slab of, Cadbury's chocolate, eaten a lot. But then, as I said, when I use the light and that, it gets rid of the pain, but then I wouldn't have had the pain if I hadn't have OD'd on the sugar.
It's sort of there, and if you stress yourself, you get condition of rheumatoid arthritis. it's a coming and going thing depending on your life.
Yeah, and I think you still have to work on your health as well. You know, it's.
Well, what's the problem with the like I've got laser lens routine? What's the problem with that?
Yeah, just they recommend keep the eyelids closed or put a mask over.
Yeah, some people that are really sensitive, you can wear a mask, and also because it penetrates, you know, that the eyelid down makes it a bit softer.
That's what Kerryn was telling you about leg cramps. She uses the orange light for cramps.
It's about 5 minutes. It depends on the person, you know. With the pair of us, it's just been experimenting as we go along. I've found with the, like I said, just the other morning I had cramps and just this severe cramp down the front of the leg, and I was tired, so I rested the light on my actual skin, whereas normally you have it, you know, so far away from the skin, and I'm just there half asleep, and what it actually did, I found, which was a surprise, was that it increased the cramp, but it increased it more and more and more. It wasn't until I took the light away from the skin that it just settled down. And after, for me, I just wait until I feel the cramp just release. It just releases and goes, and I think that's great. And I pop the indigo in and then put it on then for 30 seconds to a minute, depending how long I can keep my eyes open. So, you know,
As I was researching the leg cramps, I was saying it was coming from sciatica nerve or something higher up. So how do you know which? You put it on the cramp or?
I really don't care so long as I get rid of the cramp.
We're just lay people, and we're leaving it to the scientists, and we're telling you from a lay person's. I'm after. I mean, what's quantity without quality? So, and I want the quality. So, and
can you overdo it, Billie? Can you overdo it? Yeah. I mean, Kerryn was saying 4 minutes. If she did it for 6 minutes, would that matter?
No, it depends on the person. Again, the pair of us have just tried things, read our little books and tried to get information from as far as we can, you know, and just that's how we've learned in the last 12 years.
Just to add to that, when I was just sitting there, this was my first experience with it, and I was just thinking, 5 seconds before the light went off, I was just thinking, I think I've had enough of this now. I think it feels right, and I was thinking I'm going to move away, and then it stopped. So I think you get a sense of what's right for you or not.
Yeah,
I suspect.
Yeah.
With when you were saying about the pain down the spine, when I was working with that young man with a broken leg, he'd also dislocated his shoulder and he had severe pain down his spine from the, you know, like wearing, using crutches. But the initial problem was the knee. He was quite worried that he wasn't going to be able to use his knee and get back to work. So we concentrated on that, and I would put needles in the arm, and at that stage, because he had the cast on, I couldn't sort of lay him down, so I was doing the treatments, setting him up. When I did the 6th treatment, I actually, because the cast had come off, he'd noticed that the pain in his shoulder was reduced. It had been a lingering thing, but all of a sudden he said, "Oh, I don't really have that. I haven't had that for a few days now." When I put him face down and I concentrated, I used the fullerene on his spine, and I started, and I actually put it on points for the, you know, like we've got points for bone in the acupuncture, so I used that for a few minutes, and then I just concentrated 10 minutes using the fullerene down his spine, and he was in quite a lot of pain. The following day he rang me and he said to me, "I cannot believe it, I had the best night's sleep and I don't have any pain anymore." So this was not only treating his back, but it was treating everything. But what I did was to start with, I started with the most thing that was worrying him at the time, and I would concentrate on that, and then I would add, because I didn't know how he was going to react. he would spend, I probably spent at least 20 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes with the light. I would alternate it around using the stand on the different areas. But that last treatment was mainly concentrating on his spine, and he's really sold on it.
Yeah. Any other questions? We might be able to answer them.
Billie, how do you know which colours to use? And you may use one primarily and then complete the treatment with the second one.
It seems to be with the Bioptron that you use one colour, but you must finish off with a little bit of the opposite colour.
It's the balance.
The balance, yeah.
Yin and yang.
So, yeah, the yin and the yang. So, yeah, and with the acupuncture, they're working with the yin and the yang also with the
Well, we're
colours.
clearing the acupuncture pathways, and then, as I said, when we put the light on it, I've found that with the young man with his leg, I used orange and the indigo because that was not only for trauma but for broken bones. I used that on the shoulder. There is a universal light that actually
has all the colours.
Has all the colours. And before I ended up with the fullerene, I would use it when I was starting to play around with it. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it or how it was going to affect. I would just go with the universal light, and I found that on certain points, when I could see it, the body would absorb the colour
that it needed.
And I could actually see a ring would come around wherever I'd put this needle, and if the body needed red, it would absorb red. It was like a faint, and then it would be an indigo or a blue, and that was quite, I thought, oh, what's going on here? But this was just coming from it, so I stopped questioning it and I just thought, okay, I'm just going to let the body do what it needs to do and take what it needs. I tend to leave it for about, on the main areas, like on broken things, I would leave it for 10. Sometimes I might only leave it for 2 minutes. But I get a sense of it, what I need, how long I need to do it on.
Yeah, when I used it for pain, I just used the universal one with all the colours. And that is the best one for pain. You don't need to go so much with because it does have infrared in it as well.
Yeah.
So it's got the whole lot. It's got the range of colours.
Yeah.
All bar the ultraviolet it doesn't have. Yeah.
So Vickie, you know how you're saying that the body absorbs the
That's
colour?
Vickie.
It's
Yeah.
not,
Yes, you know.
it's not more related to the oxygenation of the blood because if the blood is pooling, then you're going to get that red inflammation. So
not so much the skin wasn't going red. It was a light that, where I had the needle in, it would be a haze around it, but it would be a colour. It would only be a faint colour, but I could actually see, to me it was like the body was absorbing whatever colour it needed. It was taking from the light because this universal light was projecting the prism, I guess, of all the colour range. The body was absorbing. I haven't seen it a lot, but I have seen it on a few patients, and I'm thinking, okay, this is what they need. But
So
I don't think it was. It wasn't an inflammation. It was actually a light colour.
But if that area is stagnant and it wants to absorb that light to get that blood going.
Yes, that's what it's absorbing. That's what I'm saying. The body's absorbing the colour that it needs to help shift it, to move it. Is that what you're asking?
Along the meridian?
Yeah.
And working on the chakras, the chakras are the 7 vortexes of energy that supply the meridians. So by working on those also, you are working on your meridians. So you can do different treatments just on the chakras. Say indigestion, by using the yellow on the solar plexus. Say 20 minutes yellow and 5 minutes violet is great. So there's all the different things.
You can also use the light for chakra balance if you're into that side of things. I did at one stage a lady who could see auras, and she was a crystal healer, and I used the light on her to balance the chakras and sort of did a magnetic balancing as well, and she was so impressed with that. she just loved the colours, and she was extremely sensitive to everyone. As an example, when we did the red, she said, I can feel that going right through to my right ovary. And she said, asked her then, did she have a problem in that area? And she had previously, as a young woman, she had ovary problems. And suddenly this had gone, this red light had travelled through to her ovary. And she also found at the end of the treatment that she felt extremely balanced. She said she had had a previous one with someone. When she'd come out of that treatment, she got in her car, and it wasn't until half an hour later that she woke up and found she got home somehow but didn't remember doing that. That she found with the light, balancing the chakras, after that she was fine. She didn't have any problems. So, you know, you can use it on many levels, the physical, the mental to help you relax, and the emotional. I found it works on a lot of things. Thank you.